time is it? Better get up and grind. I woke up, soaked from a bad dream. I've been sweating like crazy. Got up, skin stuck to the veggies. Open window for a cold breeze. I have nothing to eat in my kitchen. Old coffee and yesterday's pizza. Listen, I promised to clean my floor, but I have no interest to fulfill my chores today. As long as the sun is shining and the weather is showing its face, just like me, it's been hiding. People painting the world with its rings, so I skip on my obligations. Like so many times before, reach for the door out to reclaim my faith in the making. God, I am here for the taking. Oh, it's a matter of opinion if I'm right, but I'm leaving off for now to go outside, putting chores and obligations on our pile. See them towering over me, know it too high.
I had it with this shit, man. Hey, yo, I gave it all I got, but it seems like it's not enough. Now I'm sitting there watching all these bills piling up like, damn, I need a change for the better. Scratch that, I need a change for the cheddar. Gotta get up, 9 to 5, have a regular life. With the knowledge knowing that I'm not a regular guy. See, I'll be more than me's a regular. I like Optimus Prime with my spectacular mind, composing these stellar rhymes. But I'ma design a different future for me. I had a good run with it, but it just ain't what it used to be. And truthfully, I trust nobody in this industry. They only come around when they want something like a fucking leash. But I'm cool, mama didn't raise no fools, so I'ma do what I do and chunk up the dues. And I'll be back in the booth when the stars align. But meanwhile,
it's a matter of opinion if I'm right, but I'm leaving off for now to go outside, putting chores and obligations on our pile. See them towering over me, know it too high. It's a matter of opinion if I'm right, but I'm leaving off for now to go outside, putting chores and obligations on our pile. See them towering over me, know it too high. It's a matter of opinion if I'm right, but I'm leaving off for now to go outside, putting chores and obligations on our pile. See them towering over me, know it too high.
Hey guys and girls, welcome to another episode of Matter of Opinion. I'm Walls P,
It's your boy Rated On.
and also we got the guest, the lovely Miss Tia. Hello?
Tia,
Yeah,
you're muted, I think.
I think
Sorry
she's
about that. Hey, everybody. Having a full-blown conversation with myself.
pretty much. You was on that strategic wave right now just a few
I
minutes
was.
ago. All right, so yeah, there's a nice impromptu live. So we don't know what the audience will look like, but we here to rock and roll. And yeah, Vic sent me a video about the whole Larry Elder comment about reparations,
Mm.
which was a very interesting it was very pretty much interesting what he sent me. But yeah, before we get started, please like, share, subscribe if you haven't yet. And once again, thank you everybody for helping us reach that 5K milestone. And yeah, just trying to build a platform, bring the content that everybody want to hear, and pretty much build from there. And
I'm gonna start calling you 10K, speaking it into existence.
hey, that's the goal, man. If we can get to 10K by this time next year, then that's what's really good. So
Yep.
yeah. So for those who didn't hear, Larry Elder pretty much made a comment about reparations, and let me roll the clip so people can kind of get up to speed on what exactly he said. So let me see right here. All right,
This got to be the funniest man of 2021. I'm telling
all right. Let me know if I can hear it. Y'all can hear it?
you. No, we can't
No.
hear it.
I can't. All right. Let me turn the volume up. All right.
Wait, when you mentioned that,
You can hear that, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I
but
bet.
it's
All right. So
still
okay.
a little low.
do you know that the slave owners were compensated after they lost their quote unquote property? The government compensated slave owners. I didn't know that. Yeah, and so when people talk about reparations, do they really want to have that conversation? Because, like it or not, slavery was legal, and so their property, their legal property, was taken away from them after the Civil War. So you can make an argument that the people that are owed reparations, and not only just black people, but also the people whose quote property close quote was taken away after the end of the Civil War.
Yeah. So with what your man said, I guess I'll ask you, Tia. What do you get from him saying, this reparation things that people who are slave owners should basically look to get reparations?
Well, Larry Elder, he is a very controversial conservative. And let me just say that actually, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a law that passed that did actually give slave owners, in a sense, reparations? I believe they were given about $300 per slave, once slavery was abolished. So let me just, first and foremost, let me just say this because I know your viewers. I do
Uh-huh.
not agree. Let me start off by saying that. But I understand where he's coming from if you break down the premise of, what a slave was. So essentially, when you abolish slavery and you took away pretty much what they used to, use your imagination. In a
Mhm.
sense, they took a loss. So it seemed at that time, it seemed right that they were given reparations because they took away their slaves. Was it right? Absolutely not. But as he mentioned back then, slavery was legal. So, I mean, there were a lot of things back then that were legal. Like, even I forgot the exact term, but even for a slave to want to, run away from their slave owner, that was
Mhm.
considered a form of mental illness. And, so it's like all these different things back in the day that were deemed legal and right and just. Now we look back on it and we're scratching our heads. So technically, he's only quoting things in history that actually happened. But again, Larry Elder's a very controversial person. And, I'll get into some of his other comments in a sec. But yeah, I don't agree with what he had to say. But again, I understand where he's coming from if you base it on the context of the law back then.
Ray, you wanna give
First of
your point
all,
of view?
let's just all confirm that slavery is not abolished because the 13th Amendment clearly states that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude is legal except as a punishment for crime, which is why when you go to jail they make you do hard labor.
That's true.
So let's acknowledge the fact that slavery just took on a different form,
Mhm.
not abolished. And then second, I don't agree with his statement because we're human beings. When even back then we were still human beings.
Mhm.
We still live, breathe air. We still repopulated with our other significant other. Like, still human beings at the end of the day. You can't put a price on human life. Okay,
Mhm.
and for him to come out like that, I feel like he's one of those. I'm not gonna say the word, but he's one of those household dudes. You know those
Yeah.
dudes that be like, "Yes, master, welcome home, master."
Yeah.
That's what he's being right now, and you know why he's doing it? He's doing it to get those white votes, those racial white votes. Because isn't he running for what is it,
Yeah.
governor of California right now?
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So he's
California
after those
has
votes.
certain sections that believe in that old school racial back in the day type of mentality. So
Hmm.
you know, I feel like he's doing that to get those votes so he can get in the office.
See, my thing is, granted, even though we're talking back in the day, whatever the that was legal with slavery and everything like that. But at the end of the day, you're not people aren't property. You know
Absolutely.
what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Now here's the thing. There's like he's saying, that was property. You bought it. You bought. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, yes, black people of color were considered property, right? You buy them, blase blah, and you get to do whatever. Even at that point, dogs, pets were treated better than slaves. You get
That's
what I'm
true.
saying? Just think about it. Pets were treated better than slaves.
They still are. They still are in
Yeah,
America.
yeah. So you're telling me that it would have been better to give them reparations and it wouldn't have been a war or whatever the case may be. To me, that doesn't matter because what's right is right.
Hmm.
And let's look at it even now in modern times. If you want some type of change for something, you still have to fight for it. Now, I'm not saying literally go for go and have a war or whatever, but you literally got to fight for whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, whatever goal. So, fighting for the freedom for slaves to have their freedom, of course, a fight was going to break out, so to speak. That's like me breaking into your home, saying I claim this. You come to get your property back, and I'm like, nah, you got to pay me for you to have your property back. No, that makes absolutely no sense. It was like it was yours to begin with. So at the end of the day, we had freedoms to begin with, and it was stripped from us, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
So why would the person who's basically being the oppressor be rewarded for what they're doing?
Hmm.
That makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Like, yeah, I don't get it, man. And yeah, Larry Elder, I will say he's definitely off the like to
He's
me.
way off the
Yeah, he's
reservation,
just
man.
he's just yeah.
No,
It,
he
it
definitely
it's
is.
crazy, and that's the thing,
He
man. A lot of people. I'm not gonna say who these people are exactly. I know who they are, but I'm not gonna say who they are. But a lot of people swear like this is the voice for black people. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of the stuff he say,
Mhm.
I get it because he puts the accountability on us for a lot of actions because let's be real, a lot of us blacks, we like to look for handouts, and it's like, no, if you want something, you got to go out there and earn it. So I believe, I can agree with some of his principles and ideologies, but this one, this is just, yeah, that's just too much for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he has
Yeah.
very old school opinions. Like, for example, even with women, he feels like it's just for an employer to ask a woman, when do you plan on getting pregnant? When do you plan on, starting a family? Because he looked at it as if it was protecting their investment.
See,
So,
that makes absolutely no sense. Like, that's not your business.
exactly.
And even let's just say, for the sake of argument, even if you went to an employer and was like, "Yo, nah, I don't plan on having no kids, whatever," you get hired. So what? You have the right to change your mind.
Hmm.
Absolutely. But it goes again with this overarching theme of men coming to the table and making decisions about women's bodies and, decisions that we should have control over at the end of the day. But yeah, he has some very, you know, strong views for sake of conversation.
Hmm.
He also was in the movie Uncle Tom, which came out last year, as well as, Candace Owens and Officer Tate, all of them
Yeah.
discussing their politics, their views, and, of course, being called literally Uncle Tom because of the things that he believes. So he definitely is an old school conservative. And I guess, in a sense, if you were to close your eyes, you probably would think that you were talking to a white man when he spoke.
All right. So, Cat Red, thanks for joining the live. Cat Red said, Larry. Hold on, I gotta minimize my screen because I hate how it blocks off. So says Larry did not suggest that they should have gotten reparations. He stated that they got reparations and black people owned slaves also.
Well, let's correct that statement. What he said was in England that they got reparations.
About $300 per slave.
Right. In
Yeah.
in England. Not he's talking about what we're talking about is over here. Not England. Because
Hmm.
England already paid their subjects or whatever. And yeah, I will acknowledge the fact that black people also own slaves as well.
Yeah, so pretty much what he was saying was black people didn't want to have that conversation of reparations because they wouldn't be the ones who would be the only ones in line to pretty much get a reparation because the slave owners essentially they lost their property in a sense. They lost their workers. So that's more so what he was alluding to.
He
Yeah.
could, he could try and, I'm sorry, you can try and twist it however you want to, but the thought process of reparations in itself, I'm sorry, shouldn't have been like reparations for the owners. Yo, like I always say, that's something that freaking Haiti goes through now, like where they pay the French, you know, who was their oppressor, they're paying them reparations. Like, how does that make sense? How do you reward the oppressor for enslaving you or tormenting you, so to speak? That makes absolutely no sense to me. So
And it
I, I
also, I
can
mean,
I can hear where Red Cat is coming from,
mhm,
but the way he implied, because at the end of his statement, he was like, so as far as reparations, like, let pretty much, I'm paraphrasing, but like, let's start with that before we talk about black people getting reparations.
yeah,
But
because they're
but but
strongly against it.
yeah, but he fails to understand this is a country of reparations. Like the Native Americans got reparations,
Yep.
Indian people got reparations, even Asian people. Asian
And
people that helped build the railroads got reparations. So
And for those, I just want to run it back for the people who just tuned in, whatever the clip that we played or whatever. But
Mhm.
yeah, let me just run it back, share it real quick. All right.
By the way, when you mentioned that the UK was ahead of us, they were. Do you know that the slave owners were compensated after they lost their quote unquote property? The government compensated slave owners. I didn't know that. Yeah, and so when people talk about reparations, do they really want to have that conversation? Because, like it or not, slavery was legal, and so their property, their legal property, was taken away from them after the Civil War. So you can make an argument that the people that are owed reparations, and not only just black people, but also the people whose quote property close quote was taken away after the end of the Civil War.
So I don't see how, like, you can, like, misinterpret what he's saying, because pretty much he's saying, before we can get into the talk about reparations, so to speak, we
hmm
got to deal with the people that was owning property, owning slaves, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, people are not property. So I don't see how that fits into the equation.
Red Cat said, "You don't pay anyone. No one alive today was a slave. No one alive today owned slaves." Well,
No, go
that's
ahead.
true of a fact. But even when you look, prime example, Native Americans, right? There's a lot of things that Native Americans got that should belong to their ancestors from way back in the day, but the new generation got it, and they never
And,
went through the struggle.
and
They
look
never
at
went
look
through that Oregon Trail march and none of that.
and look at Jewish people also.
Exactly.
Jewish people
So
have like a banking system where they basically can only tap into, if they're going through struggles for money and everything like that. You get what I'm saying? So there's a whole bunch of different ethnicities or people who get their reparations or some kind of aid because they were done wrong. But whenever it
exactly.
seems like it comes to black people, it's always thrown the narrative, oh, you weren't a slave, no one was a slave. We get that, but what's right is right. If other people can get, what's due to them, why is it such a bad thing when it comes to black people? And when it comes to reparations, like I say, I'm not the one to believe in just randomly giving people money. No, I'm talking about giving people money like in a strategic way. Shout out to Strategic Guys Show. But yeah, giving money in a strategic way where it's like, hey, you want to start a business? I bet we got this money for you. But if you open this business, you got certain goals that you got to reach, stuff like
Mhm.
that. Like, set stuff up in a strategic way where people of color can benefit, because that's pretty much how it go, like with the Jewish community and stuff like that. There, it's like, it's not just money given to them, it's like certain things that they're trying to accomplish, they get the proper aid for it. You get what I'm saying? So I'm all for that. What do you
I mean,
guys
I also kind of feel like there are things that are out there, but because a lot of people aren't aware of them, they don't take advantage of them.
think? Yeah, I like hold on, I like what Strategic said, man. He said he's looking at it from an economic view, but what about the morality? That's a fact. That is a
Unfortunately,
fact.
when you look at politics, you look at business, they're quick to tell you, you have to put your emotions on the back burner. Now, again, I'm not saying it's right, but a lot of times you have to look at it like that. Like if you look at the history of America, a lot of things, like I had mentioned earlier, for those who joined late, even a slave to want to escape, to want their freedom, they consider that a form of mental illness. Even look at homosexuality. What was it, like a little over 20 years ago in the
Yeah,
DSM, that was deemed as a mental illness. So a lot of things that we now accept as the norm was deemed as a mental illness, or was deemed as it was something wrong, because at the time it was legal, or at the time it was right. Again, not saying that it was right, but that's how it was. So
That's
we
yeah,
correct.
definitely need to do some work. Now, who wants to step up to the plate to do that work? That's a good question.
yeah. That's true.
Mhm. That's a
Shout out
good
to
point.
shout out to Black Sheepdog. Go Larry. Yeah,
The trolling begins.
I know, I know.
Nah,
Um,
but he also said something. He said, the people served a wealthy family in years of servitude for money in advance." Um, the best example I can give to you is actually the royal family of England. They had black servants,
mm,
and when slavery was abolished in over there, they paid their black servants off. They
yeah.
gave them reparations. So that's the best example I give to you of
What
that
was
type
that?
of, you know.
And
Sorry.
I'm like, what was that? What was that? Mike fell
Sorry.
over. My bad, my bad.
Sorry. My
All
bad.
right. But yeah, do y'all want to still touch base on this, or I'll come back to it and we move to the next topic?
yeah,
Anybody else got any questions? Shoot.
All right. So Tia, you want to bring in the next topic, which with the lady from TikTok?
yes. So
Let me
apparently,
know when you want me to roll that beautiful bean footage.
perfect. So apparently, there's a lady going around on TikTok who, and it's received millions of views because she made a video going around talking about and bragging about how her man pays the rent, which doesn't seem like an unusual thing, right? All right, cue the video.
All right, let me get the Chrome tab real quick. All right. All righty. So it's this video right here. Oops. Technical difficulties. Oh, that's how the TikTok is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So pretty much what it says is her and her man been living together for a year, and they've been together for 5 years. And apparently, the place that they live in, she's the landlord. He doesn't know. He pays all the major bills, and all the direct deposits and everything go to her, and he has no idea.
So she's collecting all that money.
Hmm.
Now, on the one end, it kind of makes you feel like, oh, okay, you go, girl. She's smart. City girl's up by 1,000. But then on the other end, because I always got to play devil's advocate, if the roles were reversed and this was a man that was doing it, would it receive the same type of clout and views and what I'm saying, stuff like
Yeah,
that? Because not too long ago, and I mean, I'm pretty sure you can go on anything on Facebook, it's always this ongoing debate about, oh, if a man and woman live together, who should be responsible for the rent, or who
yeah.
should go 50-50 with the bill? Should he pay everything? Oh, if you go 50-50, that's a roommate, that's not a relationship. It's all these different things, right? Well,
Hold
then
that hold that thought real quick,
okay.
because we got two comments on the subject that we is just the whole Larry Elder thing. And Mercury Mercer says, of course, laws were made to benefit the person that made the laws. That is true. But when you realize right is right and wrong is wrong, at
Mhm.
what point do you change it? Because here's the thing: for the longest, people could abuse their pets however they choose, right?
Until
But guess
PETA was
what?
created.
Exactly.
And now you do 40 years for touching your dog
Exactly.
the wrong way.
So I don't want to hear, stuff like that. Whereas everybody else, they get the things changed accordingly at a quick and fast pace. But
Hmm.
it's a snail. It moves like a snail when it comes to Black Americans. So that's pretty much what I'll say on that aspect. Because
Oh,
yes, laws were made for
and just to speak on it, slavery is still in existence. The 13th Amendment clearly states that slavery or involuntary servitude is unacceptable except as a punishment for crime. Which means, in an instance, let's say if you commit a crime, then it is
Mhm.
perfectly legal for me to put you as a slave and put you to work.
And then the last comment by Red Cat, they will never be able to figure out who was a slave or not. Ancestry.com got
History.com.
ways of figuring out everything that you're a part of,
Yup.
your history, the whole nine. So trust me, if they really wanted to know, if you got scientists who can dig up fossils and be like, yeah, this was a pterodactyl,
But
yada yada, they can find out what they want to find out. So I can't agree with that because they can figure out whatever it is they need to find out, so to speak.
Black Sheepdog, well, his comic popped up, but yeah, Black Sheepdog. That's pretty much the prison system now. That's exactly what it is. The prison
Yeah,
system is a slave
that's
system.
true. That's
If
true.
you commit a crime, you get locked up for X amount of years or months or whatever. They put you to work while you
That's
in
true.
prison.
Facts.
You become an indentured servant.
Yeah. All right. So Tia, sorry to rudely cut you off, but I just needed to
No, it's fine.
address those.
I'm
All
used
right.
to it. It's
Yeah.
fine.
All right.
Oh,
All right.
real quick before you continue here, just to go back to Red Cat statement, you don't really need to find out exactly who was a slave or not, but you can create certain beneficial programs, or even still, you can give a piece of land in the United States towards development of a black neighborhood or a black city, just like the Native Americans. Native Americans have a lot of reservations that were given to them. Correct
That's
me if I'm
true.
wrong.
That's true. And matter of fact, on their land, you can't you don't pay taxes, is it?
They
I
don't
think.
pay taxes.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
land is tax free.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
He
So
says,
don't
so
cut.
don't commit crimes. Being a slave is a choice.
Well, no, we're just making a statement that prison is like slavery, but we're not condoning,
No,
committing
no,
crimes.
no,
Or,
no. We're
nah,
not
we're not
condoning
condoning it.
anything
Yeah,
like that.
we're
But
just using it as an example. That's all. But
yeah,
yeah, I get what you're coming. I agree with you 100%. Don't commit a crime and you won't be a slave. I get it.
Yeah, but let me also just point out that you do have a lot of innocent men and women who are in the prison system for unjust reasons. That's why now you see a lot of people. Actually, I forgot the exact name of the group of men who were recently exonerated, but they were already executed well over 20 years ago for a crime that they didn't commit. So I just want to put that out there that not everyone that's in prison or locked up is, it's in there by choice. No, you do have some people who are in there who are actually
Yep.
innocent.
I
yeah.
remember. I remember this one case about this dude. I forgot what he was in there for. I think it was murder or something like that. And everything pointed to the signs that your man was guilty. And the way the court got wind up, it got wind up reversing was he was at a baseball game and I forgot what company was shooting a commercial. It was like Nike or somebody. They was actually shooting a commercial. Now on the TV broadcast, you couldn't see it like hit the angle that he was at, whatever, where he was sitting.
Mhm.
But when his lawyer, like when they put in an appeal and his lawyer requested to because he remembered who like the company that was recording. So his lawyer went to investigate to get like the recording tape that they were doing. Just so happened the recording they were doing, you saw him at like in the crowd the time that they said that the murder or whatever happened, and that's what got him free. So not all the times, you're right. People who are guilty aren't always guilty. And there's a lot of times the signs can point that everything about them is guilty because they don't have nothing to validate where they were, whatever the case may be. But you do have a lot of cases like that where people who are innocent are found guilty.
Exactly, especially if they can't afford a good lawyer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So yeah, Tia, you can continue with the story. You want to take it from the tippy?
Start again.
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry
so
about that.
again, there was TikTok video going around of a woman who pretty much was bragging about, living with her boyfriend for about a year and he pays the rent. Come to find out, she owns the place. So all of this time that he's been paying the money, it's been going towards her. And like I said, on one end, some women are like, oh, that's great, that's wonderful, high five, city girls up by 1,000. But then on the other end, because I always got to play devil's advocate, I'm thinking if the roles were reversed, would people really be, as hyped in the comments about what she's doing? Because again, if you go on any platform, whether it's Facebook or whatever, there's always the debate about, oh, if you live with a man, should you do 50-50 or should he pay for everything? If he does 50-50, that's a roommate. That's not really a relationship. And here it is, you have a woman that was blessed enough to be with a man that paid 100% of the bills, or of the rent at least. And she's pretty much bragging about how she's the landlord, she's been taking all the money. So like, as a man, how do you two feel about that?
I mean, first of
Yeah,
all, he definitely knows now. He
For
definitely
yeah,
real.
knows now.
yeah.
Um, second of all, I think she is the biggest. Not she's the biggest catfish scammer I've ever seen.
Mm, mm,
She's getting my man's good. For
yeah.
all that time they've been together. I mean, honestly, if I was in his shoes and I found out or whatever, I'd leave. I'd just pack up and go because I'd feel hurt.
Mhm.
I'd feel betrayed. Because
See,
it's
go
like
on.
if you knew that you owned the building, like you could have, it depends on how much money he was giving out too. If he's paying like $1,700, $1,800 a month, you get what I'm saying? Then on top of all the other bills,
Mhm.
like I feel like that's a touchy. That depends on the situation, how much he's paying. But still, if I knew that my girl owned the building and all of my money was going towards her account, and she didn't say, okay, hey, I own the building, you just you pay me the rent, I'm using that for X, Y, and Z or whatever. If you had that conversation with me, okay, that's fine. You get what I'm saying? But for you to have it that secret and then you keep it for so long, and then I gotta find out, like, through social media, yeah, no, I'm out. I'm
See,
out.
here's the thing: if the roles were reversed, they would take that dude through the ringer.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, of
You get what I'm
course.
saying? They would take that dude through the
You
ringer.
got dragged through
No,
the mud. They'd have been
yeah,
like,
but
you a bum dude.
here's the thing though. But you have women glorifying like, yeah, woman, yeah, girl, get that bag or whatever, stuff like that. If it was a guy, number one, if it was a guy, I don't believe a guy would even do that to a woman as far as like having her pay the rent and stuff like that or whatever.
Exactly.
Number two,
Are you serious?
no, I'm talking about no. Okay, the way I'm looking at it from the strength of if you get to the point that you've been with somebody for 5 years and y'all go to live together or whatever, by
Mhm.
that point, y'all really are considering, either being serious or taking it to the next step, whatever the case may be. So at that point, all the games and BS should be done with or whatever the case may be. So if y'all go to the point of living together, especially for a dude, his mindset is not, I'm going to see what I can get from this woman money wise, so to speak. You get what I'm saying? Especially if he has the money to actually buy a property,
Hmm.
he's not trying to game her for money because
And
he has money.
and,
You get
and
what I'm
that's
saying?
another
So,
thing too, that you just said, that because all that money that she been taking for him, he could have saved it, use it for other stuff, business, buy his own property, and then they could have probably ended up married together.
because what it sounds like to me is you like you're not you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah,
That's what it sounds like to me because if y'all have the mentality that this is all money coming into one pot, then why would you need to do that? That's what I'm saying. And what like
exactly.
for a guy, because a lot of men, not all men, a lot of men look to be providers. So if you have the money to actually buy a property,
Mhm.
then I don't see a man who's gonna like I said, there are some men who are probably out there like that, but majority of men who has the money to do that, they look to actually provide for their woman.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So it's more so like, hey, I own this property. Hey, let's pay off this mortgage. Let's, stuff like that or whatever. But to have the woman just pay for it and like if a dude did that, I would take him to the ringer and be like, yo, that's a scumbag, straight up. Like,
Yeah,
no, like you get what I'm saying? But for people to actually glorify it, man or woman, to me that's ridiculous,
and to
man.
praise that, like that's just messed up.
No, it absolutely is. But I mean,
'Cause-
it does kind of make you feel like, and I hate saying his name, but even like with Kevin Samuels always brings up about how, women are changing. You know what I mean? Like the mentality, like their motives, like a lot of stuff is changing. And I think for me, like looking at the comments under that video, because it was also posted on Instagram and stuff, it's like you have a lot of women that were like, "You go, girl, men have been doing it to us, you go ahead," almost as if it's like, not saying they want to be a man, but it's like, like why though? Like why do we have to do the tit for tat? Why do we have to, get revenge? And I mean, it seems like, she didn't say anything about, oh, after him putting me, through hell, I'm getting him back. Like none of that. It was just, oh yeah, after my man's been paying rent for a year, it's really been going to me. And it's like, okay, but do you know how many women out there are single or would love to be in that situation? And you're just giving men another reason to say, see, this is why I don't want to, get married, or see, this is why I don't want to
Hmm.
live with a woman, or this, it's like you're not helping the situation.
See,
Hmm.
we talked about this. What was it, self sabotage 2.0 on our YouTube channel?
Yeah,
Sure
we did.
did.
Yeah, definitely check out that video.
Turn a good man into hate. I'm telling you.
Mm.
Um, Red
Oh,
Cat, yeah, Red. I want to do any of y'all want to address Red Cat's question that she
yeah, they
posted?
do actually have the list. What is it? The auction list from Massachusetts and all the other states. They have that. I believe. I don't know exactly which museum it's in, but yeah, they have a whole list.
Of people who were slaves and everything like that.
Yeah, yeah, they have all the auction books
So
with all
yeah,
the slave names and everything in there.
like I said, I have the mindset. Whatever they put their mind to, as far as figuring these things out, trust
The
me,
ledgers.
it can be accomplished. Because think about it. How else do you think you get these slave movies and stuff like that?
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? So yeah, they definitely have them. But yeah, Tia, to piggyback on what you were saying, yeah, man, that's the thing. No matter how much good people do, whether it's man or woman, all it takes is one to do something stupid or ugly, and it paints a bad light on everybody in a totality.
No, you're
You know what
absolutely
I'm saying?
right.
Like, for instance, you could have a mixed community, whatever. Everybody's nice and fine, but that one black person do something far fetched. Oh, you see, I knew it. I knew. You get what I'm saying? Or if a Hispanic person do something, oh, you see, I knew it. You get what I'm saying? So it's stereotypes, or even with white people, our white counterparts, they do something, it's, oh man, see, I told you they were racist, or I told you they, like,
Mm.
all it takes is that one. You see policing, a cop happened to do a questionable shooting or something. Oh, you see, it's all cops. So all it takes is one bad apple to paint a bad picture in everything in society. No matter what it is, no matter how much good is done, it take one to rectify it.
No, you're absolutely
Sad,
right.
sad
But
but true.
no, you're absolutely right. And the thing that bothers me is like even when I had a conversation with a male friend not too long ago, for him, marriage wasn't really an option, with his kid's mother. And to me, I was just like baffled by it, because I'm like, okay, but I don't understand. It's like a lot of men, and I'm not going to say all, I'll just say the ones that I've talked to or I'm friends with. A lot of them are getting to a point where it's like they don't really, I'm not going to say they don't see the need for marriage, but for sake of conversation, they don't really see a need for marriage, especially when you hear stories like that. And whether she was for real or not, doing it for likes or not, it still sets the negative tone of, okay, this is what a lot of women are out here doing. And let's be honest, you have a lot of impressionable, immature women out there, yes, I'm a woman myself and I'm putting it out there, who will look at things like that and feel like, yes, that's how things are supposed to be. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to live my life, and it's like, no, that's not the way. But unfortunately, social media glorifies those things.
Hey, it's crazy because us as a society, we're a glutton for humiliation, drama, like because think about it. When do news articles and stuff have the most ratings? When something crazy is happening,
Something
something
crazy,
negative
something
is
bad.
happening, yeah, something bad. So we're a glutton when it comes to bad news and stuff like that or whatever. Like that's just the sad reality of the situation.
No,
Real
yeah,
quick,
absolutely.
Brazos Valley African American Museum in
Hmm.
Texas. They have a lot of slave auction ledgers in there in that
Oh,
museum.
okay,
They have the whole exhibit with the ledgers,
okay. To break down every like all the slaves, pretty much, so to speak.
pretty much.
Okay. So yeah,
Of course, it'd be in Texas.
the information is out there.
Yeah,
The information is definitely out
you can
there.
actually schedule a visit.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, this topic definitely because this topic definitely can be a debate, whatever, so to speak. But what I would say to find a resolution for that couple, man, is especially to that woman, is if y'all got to the point that y'all living together and stuff like that, and y'all been together for 5 years, then by this point, the games that you're playing should be over with. And you should be thinking about us as instead of just me, because it sounds like you're thinking about yourself
Mm.
as opposed to both of y'all as a single unit and
Man,
actually trying to build, to marriage or whatever the case it may be.
Mm.
man, I gotta disagree with that because I this resolution, if it was me, I'd have walked away because that shows that you don't have no trust in me and that you're not really 100% secure in our relationship because you have a escape plan. That's what this is. It's an
No,
escape
I
plan.
get that, but what advice would you give her for like if she gets into another relationship, what advice would you give her to
Don't do
not
this nonsense. Like be straightforward. Like,
he
but
just
I'm pretty sure every guy that's seen this has probably showed their friends, and then it's probably her chances of getting a man if this one leaves is going to be zero,
Mm.
especially one that pays all the bills. Let's get this. Let's. I'm sure we all can agree on that.
well, you might get some guys who are like, "Yo, I'm good with that," or whatever the case may. Hey, you'll be surprised, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You'll
you're
be
right.
surprised. You'll be
that's those the
surprised what
ones you
some
gotta
people.
watch because
Yeah.
they plotting to what catch you up out of stairs.
Yep.
Those the ones you gotta watch.
Yep.
And I
All
guess
right.
also the deceit as well, like just knowing that you've been paying, however you've been paying, because the first thing in my mind was, wait a minute, who is he actually, like, how is he paying it? Is he just giving her the money? Is he writing her a check and assuming that she would do it? Because whether you pay it online, you write a check to the actual company, like there's a name on, like there's a company on it, unless she has it registered under a different name. But just a deceit though, just knowing that, okay, I'm giving you this money, and like you said, you could have did anything else with it, started a business or whatever, and the fact that she is taking it and you didn't even tell me that you own this building, like, or own the house.
Your name don't necessarily have to be on it because as a whatchamacallit, as long as you have a person who's like running the like a person that's a super or something, you could
Hmm.
have it under their name and they deposit. You get what I'm saying? And you collect the money from the super. You just make sure the super collects the money from whatever tenant, and then you get that bread. I don't know, Ray. You know better than we. You know better than we do. So.
Or like on the checks, like if you write a check, how you can
Hmm.
put the reason for. Some banks you can just the person can just write like the house address or whatever
Hmm.
on the check, and then they just put for rent.
And that's it.
That's it.
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
So it's all But I got a
All
strong
right.
belief he was giving her cash.
Probably.
Mm.
All right.
Okay.
So, before we switch gears to the next topic, Red Cat said so they would have to do a DNA test on every American to see if their ancestors were slaves. Not necessarily. Well, I mean, technically, if you're technically speaking, because for ancestry.com, whatever, do you have to give a DNA sample or anything like that? Because I'm not too sure how it works.
Yeah, you have to. They send you
A
a
kit,
certificate.
a kit.
But it's I think it's saliva, a hair follicle, and then I forget what else is you have to
But
give.
but here's the thing. But
Once you
here's the
do it, you send it in.
but here's the thing, Red Cat, to answer your question. So they would have to do a DNA test on every American to see if their ancestry was slaves, right?
Hmm.
If let's just say United States say they were gonna give black folks, reparations or whatever, this, that, and the third, but you have to prove it. The United States won't have to pay because black people would be clamoring to get the DNA test on their own. they would be willing to pay for that ancestry test on their own just so they can see if they qualify for it. So I don't think it's a problem of, hey, every American has to get the test. People would be clamoring to take the test, and
Hmm.
it wouldn't cost the government or the United States any money whatsoever. People would do it
Hmm.
on their own.
Yep.
So that problem can be taken care of on its own if they put the word out.
Yeah, all they gotta do is do one commercial. Hey,
Yep.
we'll give you $300 if you can prove that you're related to a slave from back in the day.
And
Not
you can,
even word of
yeah,
mouth.
yeah, and they're like, wait a minute, you tell me all I gotta do is pay $9.99 for ancestry.com and I get $300? Oh, sign me up right now. You gonna find, yo, you could be homeless. You'll find $10.
You'll find
Like
$10.
Exactly.
so yeah, but yeah, people will trust me. People will find a way. People will definitely find a way.
Yeah, Black
But
Sheepdog is funny. Where those how to invest his money.
Let me find out.
I know, right? All right.
Got a lot of connections in the mafia world. You know what I'm saying?
Now you
All
know
right.
this is recorded, right?
Yeah, I
I
know,
can't
right?
say no names on camera, but we gonna leave it at that.
All right. So the last topic that we're gonna cover is that Mexico Supreme Court has voted to decriminalize abortion. And this is
Yeah,
right on the heel of that Texas SB8 law,
Yeah.
which Tia did a phenomenal video on. Definitely check it out check it out on the channel.
link will
So
be
yeah,
in the
yeah.
description.
So do you guys think that Texas played a major influence on their decision, or do you think it was just something to, they just found it like unconstitutional? Like, I guess what's the word I'm looking for? I guess they had a change of heart or something and just found it unconstitutional.
I feel like it's a rebellious act against Texas. That's what it is.
Mm.
That's what you think it is?
Yeah, they were like, "Oh yeah, you gonna try to limit our people? We got you." You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's more of an act to get more of, you got to say, the women from Texas to come over, because
Mhm.
if you think
Yeah.
about it, um, if you know that all you gotta do is cross over the border,
Yeah.
you can have an abortion and not have to go through the struggle. What are you gonna do? Cross over that border? You get what I'm saying?
But if you
Like,
cross, here's a question for you because I'm not too sure how that works. So if you cross over the border, get the abortion, you come back to the U.S., they can't like hit you up. They can't hem you up for that.
no.
Well, it depends on how you got there because Uber and Lyft, they actually are taking a stand against the ban because if you're an Uber or Lyft driver and you drive someone to an abortion clinic or to the doctor to get an abortion, you can actually be have charges pressed against you.
That's true, but we're talking about crossing over to Mexico.
Crossing over the border. No, no, you can't.
But I
No,
mean,
because
en route to there, because I mean, it's
Oh,
not like you're literally walking, like.
yeah,
yeah.
But if you're en route, like if that's your intention and they can prove it or they can track it, they're gonna. That's pretty much what they're trying to do.
Mm. Oh, shout out to Nene.
Hey,
yeah.
Nene,
But
Nene.
Nene's in the stream. What's
but
going on, Nene?
my thing is if you get if you take a home pregnancy test, right?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Right, and you let's say the female finds out they're pregnant, they're like, oh, okay, you know what, I don't want to have this child, I'm gonna go to Mexico and do
Get up.
whatever.
Yeah,
How they gonna know?
that's true. That's
You get what
true.
I'm saying?
That's true.
I mean, it depends too on. I guess. Well, if they pay cash, it may not, be traced to them.
Plus, plus, they would have to, when they take you to court, they have to provide evidence that you paid for the abortion or whatever. You get
Yeah.
what
That's
I'm
true.
saying?
Because you could have just paid it for somebody's I don't know, for Manuel's wife or something to get the abortion.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You
No.
can't prove that.
They would have to literally go to the Mexican government, and the Mexican government, they not about to go look for no information.
Exactly, because you're bringing money into the economy.
Yeah,
So
so
Exactly.
yeah. But
Exactly.
but how do you feel? Like, do you guys think like that's a good look that they actually decriminalized it?
I feel like it's an economical, strategic move. Shout out to strategic.
What's your take on it, Tia?
But wait, what do you mean by economical move?
If you think about it, it's a way to boost revenue in the country, Mexico. Think about it.
As far as like if people get pregnant, they go get the abortion. That's money being pumped into the.
And I'm pretty sure they're going to get charged in U.S. dollars, not pesos, U.S. dollars.
Yeah, I
So,
guess so.
and
Yeah,
It's,
then
I don't know.
because Texas, you're right. Texas is literally right there.
Yeah, it
So
is. It's right next
all
door.
it's gonna make is people cross over. Like it's like there was like word. All right, they they
they
brought
saw
out
the come up.
SBA.
They saw the come
How
up.
can we get this come up? That's what it seems like. Seriously, that's what it seems like. They yeah. So I could see where Ray's coming from with the economic boom or
Yeah,
boom.
I think also, and like even in my video when I had mentioned, like I hope that they also do better to educate people, especially our young people,
Yeah,
because unfortunately you do have some people that use it as a form of birth control who make it, hard for the ones who actually are doing it because, they have a just reason, whether it's because of rape or incest or,
hmm
like I said before, maybe the child be deformed or whatever the case may be. And I think that that's what a lot of people are looking at. And then on the flip side, it's also another issue because they're putting such emphasis on bringing life into the world, but then once
hmm
the life gets here, it's like, okay, now you're on your own. Make it
yeah,
work
yeah. Exactly,
in a sense,
exactly.
because people
I,
fail to realize like it's
Mhm.
not that simple to get the public assistance and the things that you need. Like I don't know. I know for me, like when I had my son, granted, his father was in the picture at the time, going down to where the and I don't want to get the exact street name, but going down to where a particular street is where everybody would go to get assistance, it was so complicated. I was just like, look, all I need is insurance. That's it. I'll figure it out. I'll make a way. Now, granted, that was over 14 years ago. Maybe things have gotten a lot simpler, but I just feel like they make a lot of things so hard. Like I know it's not related, but like Social Security, for example, it took my mother like 4 or 5 tries before they actually approved her. And it's like, yo, my mom hasn't been working in over 10 years. Like she's had all these ailments, she has all these things going on. Like, isn't she entitled to this? Like, why? It's her Social
Yeah,
Security. We didn't want public assistance. We just wanted what was owed to her. So again, that's why my whole thing is I just wish that we did better in educating people so they wouldn't have to feel like abortion is their only option.
yeah, I could see me. I'm I'm against abortion when I'm against abortion unless it's pertaining to the woman's health, like the woman's health is detrimental, where she could wind up losing her life or so many complications, things like that. Or, if the baby is like deformed, like I don't know, because you get some cases where people are like taking medications, don't know they're pregnant, and the medication they take affects the baby. So
I
that
mean,
makes the baby come out be pretty much be underdeveloped and stuff like that, which will cause complications. Cases like that, I'm all for if you want to get the abortion, whatever. But
well,
even if it comes to like going through the process and it's like, hey, I can't take care of the baby or whatever. You have a lot of people who aren't fortunate enough to have babies. They would love to adopt a kid and put that baby in some good people's hands who would, raise the child as their own and everything like that. And another thing too, you could look at too is you never know down the line once you get on your feet. For all you know, you may be struggling now, but 5, 10 years from now, you wind up finding your niche and whatever it is, wind up being successful. You're well off now, guess what? You might want to reconnect with that child. Now, it may can cause complications, but you won't know. That's a bridge you have to cross. But what I'm saying is, I guess you don't know for a fact, like if having that child is going to be a detrimental to your life, as one would say. So that's where I stand at is if it's only those type like certain circumstances, or even like you said, if it's rape or whatever the case may
I was
be.
just about to
So
say
yeah,
that.
certain circumstances, I'm for it. But if it's just you feel, oh, I'm not responsible enough, no, you is responsible enough to lay down and make the baby and be a grown woman and a grown man. So guess what? Take the responsibility. So that's how I feel about it. But to the point to make it a criminal act,
Yeah.
that I'm not for or whatever. And I love what Black Sheepdog said as referring to SB8, more new people that government can tax for 18 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But y'all notice something though? Y'all ever
Yeah.
notice this? The United States government cycles their population every 20 years. Every 20 years we have a war. If you sit down and think about it, we had World War II. 20 years later, Vietnam. 20 years later, Afghanistan, we cycle our population, and then we rebuild it all over again.
That's a good point. I never looked at it like that. I never
Hmm.
looked at it like that. That's a good point.
Yeah, I
You
never
dropping
looked
some fat. You dropping some knowledge today, man.
I'm just saying.
You definitely dropping some knowledge. All right. So yeah, man. Just to circle back to the whole Larry Elder thing, man. I want I wonder because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch the full interview
hmm
or whatever, but I would have loved to know what Candace Owens' take was on what he said, whatever. Like, did she roll with it or whatever the case may be or whatever? Because the last time she said something far fetched was about the Hitler thing, and like from there, like we stopped seeing her fighting with the Republicans, up at Capitol Hill and everything. Like they just like disowned her or whatever. So I would love to. I'm gonna look and see like what her take actually was when he said that or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
um, yeah, man. What Larry Elder said to me, like I don't agree with it whatsoever. Like not one bit. To me, it wasn't taken out of context because when you look at it as a whole, yeah, man was basically saying before we can talk about reparations, the people that lost their slaves or their property got to get some kind of should have gotten some kind of reparations themselves. So
Man, he's still too wild to me. He's off. Like
yeah.
he's
Uh,
all way
before
off.
you talk, strategic man. Thanks for tuning in, brother. Have
Oh
a
Have a
yeah,
good
good
man.
night,
night.
man.
Have a
And
good
we
day.
definitely will tune into the strategic after dark. So everybody watching, stay tuned for that. Strategic will have an after dark show either tomorrow night or Thursday night. So definitely subscribe to his channel, the Strategic Eye Shows. All right, who is jumping in? That was you. You was jumping in, right? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ray was talking.
Yeah.
I totally lost track of my thought. He cut me off. I'm not gonna hold you, but
Yeah.
what I originally was gonna basically say was, yeah, he's crazy, man. He's crazy, but I
Yeah.
feel like he's doing this to put on a political show
Yeah.
because he's running for governor and he needs those nice racial white votes.
I could agree with that.
But according to his, I think, ex fiance or something like that, like he's always had these long-standing views about women in the workplace, about the different races, all of these things. So I do genuinely feel like it's him because
I
he's
agree.
going
I agree
based
with you.
off of, and I hate to say it, but he's going based off the facts of what was considered legal, what was in print back then. But so in a sense, he's not wrong, but morally and ethically, what he's saying, yeah, it
See,
looks a little crazy.
see, I agree with you on that aspect that he definitely believes that to be true because believe it or not, you got some people who believe that the Jim Crow laws was good for blacks.
Actually, there are some black people who
That's what I'm
believe
saying.
that
That's what
they,
I'm
yeah,
saying. You have a lot of black people who believe that, and what I see is it's a lot of older black folks who grew up in that time because they saw that marriage rates was higher.
yep,
Black people getting the ambition to build their own businesses, go out to get jobs because it was like it's a tight community, so
yep.
we got to stick together and move our butts to get what we want. There were no handouts. You had to actually
Mhm.
work for the things you wanted. So a lot of black people do actually believe the time of Jim Crow was beneficial to blacks. But yeah, go on.
No, you're absolutely right. Like you said, like they had their own schools. They also
Mhm.
felt like police brutality wasn't as big as it was before because it was like they knew their area. They literally stayed in their lane.
You hit the nail in the coffin. I was just about you
Yeah.
knew not to go over here or not to go over there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So they definitely felt as though that was it. Like I remember talking to an older gentleman. This was like maybe 2 colleges ago.
Yeah.
And when I had a conversation with him, and he made a comment to me like, "Oh yes, when you get your degree, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Oh, I would love to start my own business one day." And he made this face, and he's like, "Why do you want to start your own business?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't understand you young people. Like you all." And I'm looking at him like, "Wait, are you serious?" But again, this man at the time was like well into his 70s, probably
Mhm.
knocking on 80. And in
Mhm.
his mind, it was you almost as if you keep the status quo. Like you don't venture out, you don't do anything out the norm. Like you said, you stay in your lane. okay, this is the job, this is what you do until you retire, that's it. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's a certain demographic of, I'm not saying all, but it is a certain demographic of older Black people who feel like things were better back then.
Think about it. Think about it, Tia. Even our generation now, right?
Yeah.
Most of us in our generation look at like the twerking and all of that stuff being promiscuous. We look at that as a negative. Why? Because the era we grew up in, that wasn't the norm, and we saw better outcomes without that stuff than now.
Yeah.
We're seeing more terrible outcomes with all these things that are so I can't put a knock on the older generation for having those beliefs. You get what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So I can't really knock that. I can't, but I just don't. With that being said, I can respect him having those values and stuff. That particular part, I don't agree with.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, I
You know,
definitely
so
agree with what you're saying. Like even something earlier, my mentee has sent to me that Demi Lovato had posted about, oh, if you want to be free, if you want to masturbate, you want to make a porno, you want to love whomever, you want to do all this stuff, do it. It's acceptable. You read most of the comments, and it's like, yeah, you're right. I'm starting to agree with her. I like her. And then you had that small percentage of people who are responding like, what's going on with Demi Lovato now? Like
yeah,
she's out of her mind. What is she? But that, in a
He has an
sense, is
OnlyFans.
almost a
That's
no.
what it is.
Yeah, pretty much promoting that. That's probably the direction she's going into. But
yeah,
no, you're absolutely right. It's like what happened, and I hate saying this because it makes me come off so old, but it's like what happened to our generation where it's like
yeah,
the roles are changing. I know we made a video about this not too long ago about, if the feminist movement, the Black
yeah,
feminist
yeah, yeah,
movement had
yeah.
anything to do with certain things, but it's like things are changing, and I don't necessarily know if all these changes are for the better.
Well, we can only wish and hope that, things are for the better. And if not, we got to figure out how to hit that reset button and, make things for the better. Because that's one thing. No matter how tough and how rough things get, we're creatures by design that adapt.
You're
So,
absolutely right, but
you
you're
know,
you're right. Things need to change. Like I even saw an article not too long ago where they said that the older millennials, like especially the ones who are turning 40, are pretty much in the same boat as their parents. Meaning that this time back when their parents were around that age, they really didn't own much. They didn't have much in terms of savings, and it's like that's a problem. You know what I mean? Like we should be light years ahead of them, but instead we're not. And I know, the things that happened, the pandemic, student loan debt. I know it's like so many different factors that probably contributed to it, but we definitely need to make some changes because I'm tired of people saying the lost generation. Like, no, we're not lost. They just need to be redirected.
see, but here's the thing. Even though he's saying like the families back in then they struggled, I think on the surface it looked like a lot of families struggled, but I think more families had more savings than they did like than a lot of average family have now. I honestly think, because at that time jobs were more loyal. Most people that worked, they were at job like once they got a job, they was there till they retired.
Mm,
You get what I'm saying? Like jobs were very much more loyal than nowadays, whereas now they'll look to replace you in a drop of a dime, yo.
Yeah.
So
But then again, I don't think even if we had a situation where everybody stuck to their own neighborhoods and everything like that, the way the economy is, I don't think it would have worked. I think it would have been in the same type of
not see,
uh,
I think the difference also too is people were more willing to help each other. You actually knew your neighbors. Neighbors would
yeah.
look out for each other like, hey, oh, you out of milk, baby? I got you. Yeah, come get you get like neighbors actually looked out for each other.
That's true.
Nowadays, yo, you don't know your neighbor till you see him on the 12 o'clock news. Like, he lived next to me.
exactly.
You feel
Exactly.
me? So,
Or
so
But
you go
yeah,
next door, you ask for some cup of sugar, they might try
yeah,
to kill you for it.
exactly, exactly. So, but
I
yeah,
just wanted to touch on something you said when you said that, jobs are more loyal. I don't know if jobs were more loyal back then. I think that people were more loyal to their jobs. Like, if you think about it, especially in my profession, a lot of people in my age group, especially, they don't stay at jobs longer than 3 to 5 years. Like, a lot of the resumes that we're seeing, it's like, okay, even 1 to 3 years now is starting to be the norm. I don't see people staying at their jobs, that long and retiring like they used to.
See, career jobs, yeah, that might be different, but we're talking about regular jobs that regular Joe Schmoes will work, like a factory job, stuff like that.
Mhm.
I see people like jobs were more loyal to their workers than they are now. Because even now, like let's just say for the sake of argument, when immigrants come or whatever, because my parents they were immigrants, they wind up getting their citizenship and everything like that. I see now, like as from back then to now,
Yeah.
jobs were keeping their workers. Now I've worked at jobs where I seen like people who had their green cards and stuff work at, and jobs was looking to replace them quick if they mess up, so to speak. You get what I'm saying? So career jobs, like might be different, but we're talking about like the average job for
Average or like
people.
fast food
Yeah,
service.
stuff like that. They look to replace them within a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So that's
Especially if they
like
catch you
that.
in the cheeseburger.
Yeah,
Soul
that's
food.
like I mean, that's the way. That's my opinion on it. Like I said, the statistics may say different, whatever the case may be. I didn't look into the statistics, but that's just how my
No, you
opinion on the
actually make
matter.
a really good point because I feel like we're seeing that now in society where, especially because of the pandemic, the stimulus boosts, and all these other things, people are realizing that they actually were making more money by remaining unemployed as opposed to going back to that Walmart job
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
the McDonald's or whatever. So you actually make a really good point. Like, do jobs still give Christmas bonuses and stuff like that? You
It's
don't hear
very
about
hard.
that.
Yeah, it's very hard to find jobs that do that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're right. So, you actually make a really good point about that.
I do. I did. I did.
Yeah, just one. Just one point. One good point.
Well,
Your next light bulb moment will
yeah,
happen for a
pretty
year.
much. But yeah, those that are tuning in, definitely hit that like button. We'll appreciate it. And yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap it up for this live that we
No,
did.
wait, we have one more topic.
We
I
go
know, like
nah
you just
nah.
pissing us off. Like
No, we
Ray and I
don't.
were vibing.
We covered everything. We didn't have
No,
one more
we do
topic,
have one more topic.
which is
Off the top of my, you were just about to have her say it. I before we got cut off.
it was the Mexican. It was the Mexican abortion. That
And
was the
before
last
that, the
topic.
lady that had
The
her
lady at the
boyfriend paying
TikTok.
rent.
Yeah, the TikTok. That was the 3 topics that we
that was
had.
it. You
Yeah.
sure?
I
Yes.
mean, we could throw out some more now, Ray, if you got time.
We
Yeah.
already an hour in.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
You get what I'm saying? We already an hour in. At what point does it start? Okay, yeah, okay, it's
There
over.
is one more topic.
What is it?
I'm gonna need all y'all watching to subscribe and join us on Discord because we're
Yeah,
trying to get this Discord up.
yeah, that's true. That is another topic that we could have definitely.
Yes,
But
and don't forget to join the group of Facebook.
yep,
We have plenty of polls. You can also
Mhm.
post in there. We can have a back and forth conversation, interact with us. Definitely make sure that you follow.
yep. And that's gonna do it for this Tuesday night with this Larry Elder themed live, improv live. Because usually we plan it out and everything. This was just improv. I just saw the article and I was like, "Yo, troops, do y'all want to go live?" So
Like, we got to talk about it.
exactly. So, but yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. We thank you for the support again. We appreciate you guys helping us get to that 5K. Like we mean it from the bottom of our hearts. We thank you. We thank you guys for that support. Doing that, especially within a year's time too. So
At 10K,
yeah,
there might be a secret video on locals just for y'all.
yeah. You
Oh, I
mean
thought you was gonna
OnlyFans?
say. I thought
You
you was
mean
gonna say
OnlyFans?
OnlyFans.
Yeah, Ray's gonna do a pole dance to celebrate 10K.
You
But
know what? I might. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, I gotta love Nene's comment. Thanks for watching. Thank you all for watching Larry Elder. So I didn't have to.
We stomach
Yeah,
it for you.
no problem, Matt. Hey, however we could help, definitely. However we could help.
And see, that's the other great thing about Matter of Opinion. You come here, you hear an array of different topics
Yep.
from Larry Elder to Kevin Samuels
Yep,
to
yep.
what's going on in the news. So you get a little bit of everything.
Equal opportunist, baby. Like I said,
Exactly.
that South Park syndrome. Everybody could get it.
Hey now.
Everybody.
You laughing a
Yeah.
little too hard over there. I don't like that.
Hey, yep. Hey, that means you got some good jokes there. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that's gonna do it for this live, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.
What time is it? I woke up, soaked from a bad dream. I've been sweating like crazy. Got up, skin stuck to the bed sheets. Open window for a cold breeze. I have nothing to eat in my kitchen. Old coffee and yesterday's pizza. Listen, I promised to clean my floor, but I have no interest to fulfill my chores today. As long as the sun is shining and the weather is showing its face, just like me, it's been hiding. People painting the world with its rings, so I skip on my obligations. Like so many times before, reach for the door out to reclaim my faith in the making. God, I am here for the taking. Oh, it's a matter of opinion if I'm right, but I'm leaving off for now to go outside, putting chores and obligations on a pile. See them towering over me, know it too high.
Yo, I gave it all I got, but it seems like it's not enough. Now I'm sitting there watching all these bills piling up like, damn, I need a change for the better. Scratch that, I need a change for the cheddar. Gotta get up, 9 to 5, have a regular life. With the knowledge knowing that I'm not a regular guy. See, I'll be more than me's a regular. I like optimist rhyme with my spectacular mind, composing these delicate rhymes. But I'ma design a different future for me. I had a good run with it, but it just ain't what it used to be. And truthfully, I trust nobody in this industry. They only come around when they want something like a fucking leech. But I'm cool, mama didn't raise no fools, so I'ma do what I do and chunk up the dues. And I'll be back in the booth when the stars align. But meanwhile,
It's a matter of opinion if I'm right, but I'm leaving off for now to go outside, putting chores and obligations on a pile. See them towering over me, know it too high. It's a matter of opinion